What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. And ladies and gentlemen, oh my gosh, I have been digging, searching, looking around for an article, for a piece of information that summarizes what I've been trying to explain for so long. This is the Holy Grail. This article breaks it down and shows exactly what's going to happen. I've made videos covering the below ground supply of silver versus the above ground supply of silver versus global production, showing exactly when we will run out of silver. I've talked about scarcity. I've talked about how this is going to affect prices. I covered interviews from the U.S. former mint director talking about a silver shortage. I covered an article, a statement from the U.S. Mint themselves talking about there's a silver shortage. I've covered the numbers from the Silver Institute showing supply and demand. It's blatantly obvious, but this article takes things to an entirely different level because we're looking at the mining numbers, the peak mined silver reached, and also when this is going to take place. When we literally cannot mine enough silver to keep up with the demand over the next several decades for 5G towers, electric vehicles, silver lithium ion batteries, solar panels, everything, that's when things get dangerous. Because everyone says, well, that just means silver price is going to go high. Yeah, but you got to think farther. Yes, silver's price will go high, but how are they going to make those electric vehicles? How are they going to make those 5G towers? How is the world going to do this Green New Deal if they don't have the silver to do it? Even if silver's $100 an ounce, that doesn't mean that they're going to be able to find all the silver to make it just because the price is higher. What are they going to do? Just cut off the Green New Deal? Just go back to gas cars? No, they're going to get the silver from somewhere. And what they did last time when they needed silver is they banned it. Silver Rule 7. In 1980, the Hunt brothers cornered the market to $50. The government made a law on the spot banning silver on the COMEX. You could not buy silver. Crashed the market back down to around $14. Everyone had to sell to the government and move forwards. Yes, it was shady. Yes, it was an extreme measure, but they had to have silver. Could that happen again? Possibly. But the point is this. Even if silver hits $500, they're still going to need silver. We want the silver. They need the silver. Producers turn into the consumers turn into the producers. That's just to give a little bit of context. This article jumps into a much deeper perspective than what I just kind of, spoke about. It's just a little introduction. But by the way, stackers, if you want a chance to win some silver, 2 of you lucky stackers watching this video right now are going to win some silver. I'm going to ship silver straight to your front doorstep. All you got to do is click subscribe and then go in the description of this video, click that link. That's the entry video. May the luckiest stackers win. This article will be in the description as well. I'm so excited. I looked probably for 20-30 minutes today trying to find an article that broke it down like this, because I've talked about it over and over. I got this stuff in my head, but I also want you guys to see it physically on a screen. That's why I'm so excited. Let's do it. Spot silver jumped to $28.32 an ounce in August 2020, and that was from $11 in March 2020. Its best performance in 7 years, and though the price retreated last fall, it finished the year up an impressive 47%, more than doubling gold's 22% gain. And just to give a little bit of context, silver was the number 1 performing asset in 2020. Silver was number 1. I think gold was like number 5. But yeah, silver beat stocks, beat Tesla stocks, beat Amazon. Silver was the number 1 performing asset. So in late January, silver kicked higher after a Reddit Wall Street Bets sub post triggered a call to buy. A flurry of purchases saw, silver blow past $28, touched $31 briefly before falling back. Since March, the white metal has been trading in a fairly tight range between $26 $28. So, however, the silver outlook is extremely positive due to a combination of strong monetary and industrial demand drivers. That's why I call silver the best of both worlds. It's a win-win situation. Whether the economy's in bad or good shape, silver's going to benefit. So anyways, this is kind of just leading into what we really got to talk about. And I highly recommend you stay and watch this video all the way through because just more information gets jam-packed. So according to the 2021 World Silver Survey by the Silver Institute, global demand for silver this year is expected to outpace supply by 7%, plus 8% versus plus 15% demand. So think about that. Low supply, high demand shoots the price up. Now, global demand will be led by investments in industrial and investment-grade physical silver as a result of economic recovery from this, situation we're in, as well as healthy coin and bar purchases building on 2020's gains. The Silver Institute therefore expects the silver price to advance to a whopping 33% in 2021. In fact, we can take the positive silver narrative further by analyzing supply and demand. In doing so, we feel confident in calling peak mined silver. And this gets interesting. The concept of a peak resource should be familiar to most readers and investors. It refers to the point when production is no longer growing year after year. It reaches a peak, then declines. Notice we didn't say peak silver. See, we differentiate between the total silver supply, which lumps in recycled silver with mined silver versus mined supply on its own. In calculating the true picture of silver demand versus supply, we don't count silver recycling, right? Most silver recycled is industrial grade. Most silver that gets dug up is thrown away. Most gold that gets dug up is re-scrapped, reused, recycled because it's profitable and it's only used for jewelry and earrings, so people pawn that stuff. They sell it. Silver, though, nobody's scrapping silver out of laptops and electric vehicles. No, most silver that gets dug up is thrown away. So anyways, what we want to know and all we really care about is whether the annual supply of mined silver meets the annual demand for silver. Well, guess what? It doesn't. To illustrate, and by the way, this article gets way deeper too. I mean, you'll see what I'm saying. You'll see what I mean in a second. So, let's jump into this. In 2020, the mined silver slumped the most in a decade, owing to a number of virus-related mine closures in Latin America, where the majority of silver is produced. Right, Mexico and Peru, those two countries together accumulate 40% of the global silver supply. Just those two countries alone. It fell 5.9% to 784 million ounces, according to the 2021 World Silver Survey. However, as a result of higher silver prices in the second half of the year, global silver recycling rose by 7%. Hitting a 7-year high of 182 million ounces. Scrap generated from industrial end uses also climbed higher last year. Combined, therefore, we have a total silver supply of 966 million ounces in 2020. How about demand, though? According to the World Silver Survey, after rising for 2 years in 2020, silver demand weakened by 10%, with most of the losses attributed to a fall in industrial demand resulting from the situation. Remember, while most of the mined gold is still around, either cast as jewelry or smelted into bullion and stored for investment, the same cannot be said for silver. It is estimated around 60% of silver is utilized in industrial applications like solar panels and electronics, leaving only 40% for investing. Think about that. It's a lot different of a situation. So yes, the gold to silver ratio is 8-1, but it's actually a lot lower than that when you think about the silver that gets dug up that is not going to stay recirculating forever. Every ounce of gold that gets dug up is going to keep in circulation, get melted into a bar, then maybe it's going to turn into some earrings. But that silver that gets dug up, once it goes in that laptop gets thrown away and it's never going to be seen again. So industrial fabrication slumped to a 5-year low in 2020, leaving total silver demand at 896 million ounces. No peak silver here, right? Demand of 896 million ounces is more than satisfied by supply of 966 million ounces. But when we strip recycling out of the equation, 182 million ounces, we get an entirely different result. Here's an example. 896 million ounces of demand minus 784 million ounces. Mine supply leaves a deficit of 111 million ounces. And this is significant because it's saying even though industrial demand for silver, which makes up about 60% of usage, got slammed last year due to this situation, the total demand, industrial plus investment, was greater than mine supply, which admittedly had a bad year due to shutdowns. And that's by 100 million ounces. Only by recycling 182 million ounces could silver demand be satisfied in 2020. And do you really think that we could recycle 182 million ounces? This is our definition of this is the definition of peak mined silver. Will the silver mining industry be able to produce or discover enough silver that is able to meet demand without having to recycle? If the numbers reflect that, peak mined silver would be debunked. It didn't happen in 2020 according to the Silver Institute. It won't happen in 2021 either. Again, let's look at the numbers. And it's not going to happen in 2022, not 2023, not 2024, 5, 6, 30. It can't happen because demand is going to be rapidly rising more and more and more, but we're already having a hard time. The U.S. Mint is already having a hard time finding American Eagles to produce. Imagine trying to put the entire world in a global, with solar panels. Every automobile company is going to be electric by 2030. Think how much silver we're going to need year after year, and actually so by 2025 or 2030, how much more silver we'll need than today. And it's literally not possible to keep up with the demand. It's not possible. There's not going to be enough silver, and something's going to have to happen because this system does not work. It doesn't work. Something's going to have to change, whether that's banning silver, whether that's pushing the price up and forcing everyone like us to have to sell because the price is so profitable. It's almost like you would be silly not to sell. I mean, or they're going to find some new way to mine silver out of the ground. I just made a video talking about space mining. There's an asteroid heading towards Earth that has $700 quintillion worth of gold and silver on it. But we don't have the technology to mine that asteroid yet, and it gets here around 2026. So scientists are trying to figure out a way to be able to mine that asteroid. But if they did that, the price of gold would sink to probably a couple pennies because that's so much gold and silver that it would be more common than finding a rock outside of your house. But that's just a whole, I actually made a video on that, but that's a whole different scenario. But the point is, we can't keep up with this and something has to change. And the last time this happened, they banned silver. So again, let's look at the numbers. With silver mines returning to full capacity, the Silver Institute expects silver output to rebound from last year's doldrums, rising 8.2% year on year to 848 million ounces. The biggest increase will be from countries most heavily impacted by, Mexico, Peru, and Bolivia. And that's interesting because Mexico and Peru, those two countries alone produce 40%, and they got hit hard. So the Silver Institute predicts the total supply will increase 8% to 1,056 million ounces. But again, this includes recycling. Taking 196.2 million ounces of forecasted recycling out of the equation We have mined supply of 848 million ounces against the Silver Institute's 2021 demand forecast of 1,154 million ounces, leaving another forecasted deficit and one that is larger than 2020's 305 million ounces. Now, I know there's a lot of numbers here, but please stick through this because he's getting to a point, right? He's just showing the statistics. He's just proving what he's about to say, right? Because you can't say something without backing it up with data. He's showing the data. He's explaining the numbers to literally prove to us that he is correct. So keep listening. Don't click off just because it's a whole bunch of numbers. So total demand includes industrial fabrication rising to an 8-year high. That's 524 million ounces plus jewelry fabrication of 184 million ounces plus silverware, which is 43 million ounces. And that's also combined with bars and coins, which is 252 million ounces plus silver ETFs, which is 150 million ounces, which is 1,154.3 million ounces. So here's the global demand forecast. So you can see industrial is the light blue. The red is the photography. You could pause the video right here if you want to look at this. And you can see what it is. And this is the price of silver. So now let's look at this. In the fact that the Silver Institute's demand figure is quite conservative, we expect it to be much higher given that the loose monetary policy of the U.S. Federal Reserve and other central banks is likely to continue, keeping bond yields, interest rates low, resulting in strong uptake for precious metals. And the numerous industrial applications for silver stemming from silver's high conductivity, which appear to be growing in leaps and bounds, particularly in those pertaining to green technologies and 5G. So he's saying silver price should be rising right now, more and more. I mean, low interest rates, this should be very bullish for precious metals. And not only that, but we also have all these industrial applications for silver like 5G towers, electric vehicles, but it's really not. And I think, which he's probably not going to mention in this, but silver price is getting suppressed. And also the dollar index with, now we see the recovery of the world with the vaccines, etc. So there is more to the story than this, but it is interesting right now. If you would look at this and scrape away all of the noise and everything that we hear, you would think silver's price would be a lot higher right now. So anyways, as the U.S. vaccine rollout continues and more sectors, like he's saying right now, more sectors of the economy open up, the increased demand for manufactured goods, including solar power cells and electronics, is bound to be a boon for silver. Even more so considering that reopenings and these inoculations are happening in most developed economies. Here's solar. More and more silver is being demanded for use in solar photovoltaic cells, which is PV. And as countries move towards adopting renewable energy sources, as the metal with the highest electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity and light sensitivity, silver is ideally suited to solar panels. Silver paste within the solar cells ensure electrons move into storage or towards consumption depending on the need. And they're going into grams. I don't really want to go into too much of the detail. They're just talking about 20 grams is used in a solar panel. They're probably going to try to cut that back, obviously, blah, blah, blah. So let's keep going. So United States demand for solar is expected to surge if and when Biden administration sends out that $2.3 trillion infrastructure and they try to get Republican support, including several clean energy spending components. And then he wants to install 500 million solar panels over the next 5 years. And Goldman Sachs estimates the solar installations will jump 50% from 2019-2023. And that's going to be explosive. I mean, look at 2000 and look at 2030, and that's the demand for PV cells, which is photovoltaic, in millions of ounces. So 5G is also set to be another big. So see what he's doing? He's showing solar panels. He's showing 5G towers. He's showing electric vehicles. How much silver we're actually going to need. And he's all building this up to make the point that we are about to get into in a second. So look at this. Now we're in 5G. 5G will be the glue in an ecosystem of improved connectivity between all sorts of devices, right? And silver is heavily used in 5G towers. And then we go to automobile, right? Just like I was saying, every automobile company by 2030 is going to be electric. I hear every day a new company is announcing it. And every automobile company is going to, not even if they want to, because they have to. Because if you're going to stay gas, then people are going to deem you, oh, you don't care about the planet. Oh, you're affecting global warming. No, if anyone wants to have sales and get their sale pitch, they have to be pushing electric vehicles to be that green, that let's save the earth, right? Or they're going to get bashed by people. So anyways, according to SI, which is Silver Institute, silver use in automotive market will see a strong rebound in 2021, over 60 million ounces, right? And then silver will rise to 88 million ounces in 5 years. And others estimate that by 2040, electric vehicles could demand nearly half of annual silver supply. Half of the annual silver supply. And not demand, supply. But think of how many other things silver is used for. So, and then he goes through all that, right? So obviously, a lot of silver, and I mean a lot of silver, is going to be needed in the future. Think about a sci-fi movie. In the future, everything's digital, flying cars, these buildings, and all these stuff, and it's all digital, and that's all entailing silver. But silver's already scarce. The American Mint, the U.S. Mint, produces around 13 million American Eagles per year, and they are having trouble even minting 13 million coins. They can't even produce 13 million coins. They're having a hard time. So think about what everything else, how hard it's going to be to get everything else. I mean, that is insane to think about. So anyways, here's the conclusion. This is the meat and potatoes. Hopefully you stuck around this far. If you did, I want to pat you on the back. Kudos. You're a very smart stacker. You probably have an amazing stacking strategy because you didn't click off the video because you know everything. You didn't click off the video because you didn't have patience. It shows you have patience. It shows you're eager to learn, and it shows a lot about your character, which translates into your silver stacking strategy. So if you have watched the video this far, I genuinely respect you, and I hope you have a smile on your face and pat yourself on the back, because I can guarantee 90% of the people watching this video already clicked off. So if you are watching to this point and now you're about to get the meat and potatoes, seriously, I respect you. So anyways, all of the above taken into account, industrial demand for silver is projected to notch an 8-year high of 524 million ounces in 2021. It seems clear to us, given this relatively brief analysis, that the role of silver is changing. Once considered the ugly stepsister of gold, either referred to as poor man's gold, the devil's metal for its volatility, it also has now been giving a new makeover as the green metal, the most conductive of all metals, right? And we know all that. So silver demand for printed and flexible electronics is forecasted to increase 54% over the next 9 years. Over the next 9 years. That is crazy. And that's just, remember, that's just in 9 years. Printed and flexible electronics. Not talking about everything else. So, Sprott Insights recognizes the problem. And so do we. Supply is limited. In the first part of the article, we showed that. We have already reached peak mine silver. Silver mines currently do not produce enough silver to meet demand without recycling. It's the same situation with gold and copper. So for now, as long as price remains where they are, the industry will be able to melt down enough silver to meet demand. But this is not a sustainable model because silver is more of an industrial metal than a monetary metal. There is limited amount of above ground silver available for recycling. Eventually, the industry will reach a point where they have to either get more production from existing mines or find new silver deposits. The latter can't be done in a hurry. It takes 7 to 10 years at minimum to build a mine, and often longer. And by that time, we'll be in full bloom, full effect with everything. So according to Sprott Insights, the 3 areas of growing demand, solar, 5G, and automotive, potentially account for greater than 125 million ounces annually in 10 years. Where is this new silver supply going to come from? Their conclusion? We do not see enough supply growth to offset the demand growth. With mine supply falling since 2016, we don't see enough projects in development to generate the kind of production levels in question, at least not at current levels. So our view is that the green revolution will be highly positive for silver. It's hard to disagree with that, and the obvious conclusion to be drawn from it is silver prices are heading higher. But there's another thing we have to think about. Yes, the prices will be higher, but what's going to happen if they can't make the newest, latest Tesla? If they can't make the newest, latest iPhone? I mean, the point that silver is going to go higher is because we don't have enough to make those things. So what's going to happen if they can't make those things? You ever think about that? Our brain always stops at the fact, yes, that's going to make silver higher. But think a little step further. Yes, okay, now silver's higher, but now what? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Yeah, we're sitting pretty, but where are they going to find that silver from to make it? That's the real question. So anyways, as you can see, now you can see why I was so excited to share this article, because this is what I wanted to talk about in one video. I've covered it in several different videos, sprinkling information in here and there, but I haven't found an article that just breaks all of it down at once in one video, and they did it perfectly. They did it excellent, and I'm so glad that I was able to share this with you all. This is probably the most important, hands down, it is the most important video that every silver stacker needs to see, because it literally shows what's going on and what's going to happen and why silver is so explosive. So yeah, if you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. If you want to enter my giveaway, make sure you click subscribe, click the bell, go in the description. That's my entry video, May the Luckiest Stacker Win. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.